The Pittsburgh Steelers made it known that they wanted another safety, but we all assumed that safety would come in the NFL draft. Now that it hasn't, how does that change their entire look on the rest of the offseason? What's going on, everybody? I'm Noah Strackmine. Thank you for jumping on to Steelers to Go, your daily to go cup of Pittsburgh Steelers news and analysis. Find us on youtube.com/all Steelers talk and subscribe anywhere you get your podcasts. And today we're talking about the signing of Keanu Neal and how it impacts the Steelers NFL draft, because I believe it certainly does. Now, for those of you who haven't been caught up, Keanu Neal comes to Pittsburgh after spending a year in Tampa Bay, the year before that in Dallas, and the 5 years before that in Atlanta. He's a former first-round pick who now signs a deal with the Steelers. 2 years. He's only 27 years old. He'll come in here and have plenty of career left to give to the Pittsburgh organization. What does that mean? Well, Keanu Neal is a spitting image of Terrell Edmunds. He's a thumper box safety who plays better when it comes to playing physical football than he does with his coverage ability. It doesn't mean that he can't cover anybody, but it does show that when you have 8 forced fumbles in your career and only 5 interceptions, well, you're better hitting somebody than you are coming up with the football through the air. That's okay. The Pittsburgh Steelers have 2 guys that they believe are ball hawks at safety, and that's Damontae Kazee and Minkah Fitzpatrick. And to have somebody to come in here and be a box safety, be a run support type of guy back there who could add quality depth and replace Terrell Edmunds, well, that's exactly what they were looking for. They went out, they signed Neal. He's here for 2 years. What does it mean to their plans right now and their plans long term? Because I believe that the NFL draft kind of answered both of them. And now that Neal is here, a good signing, a splash signing, it changes the Steelers' outlook. But if we're being honest, I don't think it changes anything but our outlook. I think the Steelers had this outlook the entire time. We misinterpreted it. The Steelers showed their hands more than once during this draft process, and we ignored it. I ignored it specifically. Brian Branch is a guy that everybody wants to toss out there, but everybody wants to acknowledge how versatile Brian Branch is without acknowledging that the Pittsburgh Steelers might only be looking at that versatility as a position to play corner. They have told Anthony Johnson Jr. out of Iowa State during his pro day that they see him as a nickelback or a slot corner and a safety where he can move around the field. And then they are reportedly showing a lot of interest in Louisville slot corner Kei'Trel Clark. Their hand has been shown. They have wasted no time talking to guys that fill a position of need for them. And that position of need is not safety. That position of need is a chess piece, somebody to come in here and be an answer anywhere they need them to be an answer. A Cam Sutton, a Mike Hilton during his rookie season, a Trey Norwood of what they thought Trey Norwood would turn into or hoped Trey Norwood would turn into. That's who and what they are looking for. They'd rather have the opportunity to replace Arthur Millette, who, granted, is a great hitter, big thumper, run stuffer beyond run stuffer, does what he does well, very well, does not do pass coverage very well. And for a slot corner, well, in the AFC North, you're going to get taken advantage of. And that is what happened. And the Steelers are looking at options to come in here and replace that. So while Patrick Peterson, Keanu Neal, Damontae Kazee, Minkah Fitzpatrick, Trey Norwood, and Miles Killebrew could all rotate through safety, the Steelers are looking for guys to come in here and rotate with Arthur Millette on the inside. Much of what Cam Sutton did last year, but this time in more of a full-time role. I don't think any emphasis changes on the Steelers' draft plans overall. I believe that an outside corner is still their top option at 17. They've shown their hand there as well, inviting Keely Ringo, Emmanuel Forbes, Tyreek Stevenson, Joey Porter Jr., all in for pre-draft visits, Julius Brents as well. And if it's not at 17, chances are it's at 32. But an outside corner who could learn from Patrick Peterson, which they are very excited to have happen, is very high on their list. I believe offensive tackle is as well. Defensive tackle is as well, even after the signing of Fehoko. I think that the Steelers see that they could use a another Javon Hargrave, a guy that could play behind Cam Hayward, but could also play starting nose tackle for them as well. Could probably play defensive end behind Larry Ogunjobi if needed be. And in this draft, it is a lot of guys who clog the middle of the defensive line. And those guys are going to slide. Those guys are not going to be as high on other teams' priority list because nose tackle is a dying breed in the NFL. And even if it's realistically not, teams view it that way every season. It does not hold as much ground until free agency. And then in free agency, you're going to get a boatload of money. But in the NFL draft, you're going to slide. And the Steelers are going to take advantage of that. And I still see them drafting a big time defensive tackle. But when it comes to Neal and how they operate around Neal, it starts with a guy who could do what Neal does, but differently. Neal could come in here and is going to come in here, play backup safety, be a depth piece to KZ and Minkah Fitzpatrick, while also being able to do things like play the slot if need be, play inside linebacker if need be. Spent a whole season doing that in Dallas. Play dime backer if need be. Be a versatile piece for the Pittsburgh Steelers secondary. But somewhere in those first 4 picks, somewhere within 17 to 120, the Steelers will add a safety / defensive back that they feel could come in here, be a starter capable guy on the inside, work well in slot, at dime backer, and probably at the safety position as well, and begin to rotate him everywhere. That's what the Steelers have been approaching, and we have been ignoring it because the Steelers didn't have a safety. And when the Steelers didn't have a safety, you viewed that position as a strong position of need in an NFL draft that has strong safeties with very high upside. But the cool thing about this safety class as well is that they also all fit exactly what the Pittsburgh Steelers are looking for. Brian Branch, J.R. Brown, Jamie Robinson, all guys that I have named could all play nickelback, could all play safety, have experience at both, and should be looked at as options for the Pittsburgh Steelers. That's the draft that they're looking at. And the Steelers, because they're a team who always has a plan. Pittsburgh never goes into an offseason without a plan. That plan is constantly changing. And yeah, we could spend all day long behind a laptop or in front of a computer doing our homework and following the dots and connecting the trail. But the Steelers have a plan. And that plan always perseveres. And that plan always makes total sense at the end, for the most part. In this case, it was they have their eyes set on a very strong safety free agency class. They got their guy in DeMonte KZ. They wanted him back, and then they got a depth piece in Keanu Neal. And they've been doing their homework with the right players in the NFL draft. And because of that, they feel very comfortable heading into the draft and being able to grab a versatile guy. I don't expect this to be a team that waits until the 7th round to draft a safety or a slot corner. I do not expect the Pittsburgh Steelers to remove either position from their list, and I think both positions are tied to one. That's what I just talked about. But I don't see it coming that late in the draft. The latest I see it coming is 120 in the 4th round because that's a guy that could come in here and hopefully has the potential to play immediately. And for all of you who are hoping that the Steelers double dipped at corner and went out there and explored a class that is very deep and very, very talented, I think they're going to do so. And they're going to get their outside guy early, and then they're going to try to come back and they're going to try to get their nickel. They're going to try to get their Mike Hilton. They're going to try to get their Cam Sutton. They're going to try to get their Jalen Ramsey. Somebody who could play the slot full-time, who is so capable of playing the slot that they don't have to worry about it anymore. Who isn't a one-trick pony, who fans are going to make a big deal about, oh, well, this guy could blitz very well, but he can't cover and pass. This guy could pass well, but he can't tackle. Or coverage well, but he can't tackle. This guy's a thumper, but he makes a bunch of mistakes when the ball's in the air. They're just looking for somebody that they could plug out there, say, come up with the football, and don't let anybody get past you. Be smart. Be intelligent. That's who the Pittsburgh Steelers are looking for. They've been looking for that guy. We've just been ignoring them. But Keanu Neal changes a lot of that. And the perspective is very clear after that signing. The Steelers got one of their guys, but expect them to go get another one. At least one more. All Steelers Talk has officially launched their own clothing brand, Black and Gold Apparel, now available on bonfire.com or at the shop tab at our YouTube page. Your new favorite place for Steelers t-shirts, sweatshirts, and crew necks, now out, now available in multiple designs, including some of my favorites, Kenny Comeback, Mute, and Kenny DeGeorge. Check them all out at bonfire.com or on the shop tab at our YouTube page.